In this video, we'll be discussing mechanical valve replacement. So within a year, about 50,000 people in the United States undergo either aortic or mitral valve replacement surgery. The actual indications for heart valve surgery are different with respect to the targeted valve. In the aortic valve, the most frequent indication for valve surgery is aortic stenosis, which is when the valve does not open up anymore due to deterioration. For the mitral valve, the most frequent indication for valve surgery is mitral regurgitation, which is when the valve leaks a lot. So as aforementioned, we are pro-mechanical valve, and a mechanical valve is a man-made valve that is normally constructed with a special type of carbon or titanium, usually pyrolytic carbon. The other type of valve is a tissue valve, and the inside portion of this valve comes from either a pig or a cow. For porcine procedures, the valve comes from the pig valve itself, but for bovine procedures, the material for the inside portion comes from the sac around the heart called pericardium. So our thesis is that when seeking valve replacement, mechanical valve replacement is the optimal procedure in a majority of cases due to its longevity and durability, and it prevents certain causes of death that a tissue valve replacement would risk. Now I'll pass it to John, who will delve more into the durability of mechanical valves.
Yeah, thanks, Raylan. So mechanical valves, like Raylan said, are usually made from very strong and durable materials such as titanium and carbon. There are mainly two designs that are still being used today, the tilting disc design and then also the bi-leaflet design. These two designs can be seen in the bottom left of the screen, along with the no longer being used design, the cage ball design. Of these designs, 80% of the mechanical heart valve replacements are completed using the bi-leaflet design, according to a 2009 article from Prosthetic, and then the other 20% is the tilting disc design. Just because the other designs are no longer being used does not mean they were bad designs, though. One study from 2013 found there was a man who had a working cage ball mechanism that was still functioning since he got it put in 1973. So that's 41 years of it working properly. This points to the major fact that mechanical heart valves replacements have great longevity. As can be seen in the figure towards the upper middle part of the screen regarding the probability of structural valve failure for both the aortic valve and the mitral valve, the probability of structural failure is almost 0%. This can also be seen by the table near the bottom middle of the screen. In all categories, mechanical valve failure is essentially 0%. Because the failure rate is so low for these valves, this leads to not needing another surgery to replace the replacement valve. This can be seen by the figure in the bottom right of the corner of the screen. So relatively in comparison with other valve replacements, even over the span of 16 years after the initial operation, the percentage of reoperations is less than around 20% for both the mitral valve and the aortic valve. So now Evan's going to discuss potentially fatality as it pertains to valve replacement.
So with valve and causes of death, there's about three that normally group together. So in this bottom left chart, you can see we have valve-related specific cause of death, bleeding, and sudden death. So when it comes to mitral valve replacement, mechanical valves cause about 13% less death in patients. And if you look at the actual aortic valve replacement, it also caused about 4% less deaths in patients. In a study on patients 40 to 49, the mitral valve replacement surgery using tissue valves more than doubled the mortality rate, with mechanical at 2.2% and tissue at about 5.6%, which is a notable increase. The trend continued to get worse in that same age group, with the death rate after 15 years being at about 44.1% with a tissue valve, and then lower at 27.1% with mechanical. So that's about a little less than double for a tissue valve. And as can be seen in the bottom right chart, you can kind of tell how the mortality rate increases over the years with after a valve replacement. And the red shows the tissue valves, and then the blue shows the mechanical valves. And as the years go on, that spread between the two lines actually increases, showing that the tissue valves are actually more fatal than mechanical valves with respect to time. We're going to pass it to Jack with the preferred patients now.
Yeah, so feeding off of John and Evan's comments, we defined our age range as being under 65 years old for aortic valve replacement and under 80 years old for mitral valve replacement. And it's key to note that these patients need to be able to take blood thinners. So a prime example of someone that would not be able to do this is women wanting to become pregnant, because that can cause a lot of harm to the unborn child. But with that in mind, we have the two tables here on the left side of the screen that kind of compare the tissue replacement to the mechanical replacement in certain age ranges. So up to the 65 for aortic and up to 70 or up to 80 years old for the mitral valve replacement, there seems to be like a more even split. So we believe that mechanical valve replacement is a much better option, just because you don't have to worry about failure that the tissue valve replacement brings, and also that you don't have to worry about needing replacement surgery ever so often. So in conclusion, with the longevity, durability, and also prevention of certain causes of deaths, we feel that mechanical valve replacement is the way to go for aortic or mitral valve replacement. Thank you.